Jeremy, the Foxface rabbitfish, has been in the tank for around 12 hours now. He found himself a nice little hidey hole for overnight and seems quite settled and happy, munching at his nori. And the Filefish that was in quarantine with him, just there, is spending all his time close by. They seem to have teamed up as buddies, and he's happily picking pods off the rocks. There's an awful lot to keep him busy. I've got another one. Very happy. Glad that the fish is out of quarantine, because the quarantine tank was not an ideal size for a fish this big. Any further fish I get, or the next fish I get, I'll make sure I get small specimens that are not quite so stressed. But he's come through it okay, and he's settling down. The strange algae problem I had, which was over the rocks and the sand, not ordinary sort of film algae or hair algae, and not proper bubble algae. It was this strange algae that seemed to form bubbles of water, which would then tear and then go flapping around before they eventually broke off. But they've burnt themselves out and they're all gone now. So the tank's looking a lot better now. I obviously need a lot more frags, but the corals are doing okay. My blueberry goniopora is coming out each day now, and I'm feeding with Reef every couple of days, and it seems to be doing okay. I mean, they're well known as a difficult coral to keep. If I don't succeed with it this time, I don't think I'll try again, but fingers crossed. My hammer's been doing very well, growing heads like nobody's business. A couple of the branches have got very thin. I think the hermit crab had taken to nibbling away. You can see that bit right in the centre, nibbling away the structure. So if he manages to get all the way through so the heads break off, I'll just have a couple of frags either to swap, sell or whatever. But the coral itself is doing very well. I'm very pleased with how the tank as a whole system is running. The salinity is keeping spot on, all the levels are spot on. The only thing I'm dosing now is just over 20 ml of alkalinity a day. My coralline algae is really starting to take off. Got spots of it all over. I don't know if you can see, but I'll try and keep as still as I can. There are little pods near the top, little pods crawling all over the rockwork. Down the sump, the Deltec skimmer is happily pulling muck out. I'm emptying it every few days. Hasn't missed a beat, and I'm running just a small amount of phosphate stop in one of the reactors, and that's keeping the phosphates down to 0.0003 or something ridiculously low anyway. And I don't know if the marine pure block is doing its job or doing nothing at all, but my nitrates have held at 0 the whole time. Over in the refugium, the Catamorpha is growing but slowly. I've got some Caulerpa as well, but that's not doing so well. It's maintaining its own, but it's quite pale. I think it's because the nitrates and phosphates in this system are just so low, it's just struggling. I'd got one big piece of live rock from the LFS, and that and a handful of Caulerpa and other algae, and that's brought with it loads of these little tube worms, some of which I've actually put up into the main tank and they've now got themselves happily embedded in the rocks. Well, it's great. There's a few Astorina stars in there, and as you can see on the front glass, loads of these little white calciferous tube worms. I'm not really sure what they are, but they're everywhere. So all in all, it seems to be bursting with life, and it's feeding more and more pods into the main tank, which will keep the fish up there happy.
I think it's just over 10 months since I first started designing this using Google SketchUp, and now of course I've got a running tank, got a number of fish in there, a number of coral frags, more on order, stable system, just bursting with life. Very, very pleased with it. Everyone else seems to enjoy it as well and have a good look as they wander past. So it's just a case of letting it grow out and add more frags, a few more fish to come, and I'll finish up my powder blue tang, which is the one I'm really aiming for. Thanks for following.